Hey, what's going on, fam? GamerDadJX, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you coming back, and we're going to try something a little bit different today. You know, normally I just, play games and, stream them sometimes on Twitch and Facebook, and have playthroughs up here too that I might have recordings of. But, I was like, I want to have a conversation started, kind of get some, pieces on the site, meaning like, just some thoughts, let it be countdowns or just talking about things that I enjoy in the gaming culture, and just kind of just chatting with y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I got to thinking, we have these conversations when we were younger about like what was the coolest stage in the game, or the best character in the game, your favorite special move, or whatever the case may be. Just kind of talk about it and just like cut it up for like hours at a time, just talking about awesome stuff from games. And I was like, that never went anywhere. Now, obviously, when you grow up and become an old fogey like me, you got a lot on your plate, so you can't sit around with your friends and talk about video games all day long. But you sure can make a video about it, post it on YouTube, and have a conversation with the whole world, or all 12 of you guys, whatever happens, I don't know. But anyway, I decided to make a series and start to put this on the channel. We just talk about top 3, top 5, top 10, whatever, or maybe not even just top, just like 3 things or 5 things or 10 things that I like in a specific gaming category. So I wanted to start small, and then we'll build towards bigger things later on. But I want to kind of get the thing going, because the more you try to make something big, if you try to make this gigantic mansion, you'll never get done with it. So let's just make a room. You know what I'm saying? That's the way I feel about it. So without any further ado, what this video will be about today is power-ups and weapons in gaming. So not just, the most powerful or the coolest looking, but like power-ups and weapons that had a pivotal moment in the narrative of the game itself that it was in. I've got 3 examples that really are near and dear to me. 2 games more recent, 1 from way back in the day, from when I was a gaming lad, playing on the Super Nintendo. There's your hint for one of them. But I'll lead off with one that is a critically acclaimed game. The sequel is being clamored for right now on Twitter. Cory Barlog is the developer of the game, so that should give you a hint of what the game is. It's God of War. And by the way, if I haven't mentioned this already, spoiler alert like crazy. I mean, these games are older. One of them's, decades old, but still, spoiler alert. If you haven't played the game yet, and you don't mind being spoiled on some pretty big plot points, then welcome. If you need to play the game first, then it's God of War, PlayStation 4. Go play the game, come back, and then hang out with us again, or just don't care. But don't blame me for being spoiled in a game that's years old, okay? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it, so I'll hear it anyway. Whatever. It's the internet, right? It's going to happen, but game is God of War. And we're going to talk about when you retrieve a weapon from an older time.
I did this to him. Will you help me?
Of course. There is a rare ingredient found only in Helheim. The keeper that protects the Bridge of the Damned. I need its heart.
Hell.
The realm of the dead. Do you know it?
Not this one.
It is a land of unyielding cold. Fires cannot burn there, and no magic in all the 9 realms can create a blaze. As for the dead, your frost axe will be useless. You'll need to find something else.
Then I must return home. Dig up a past I swore would stay buried.
Who you were before doesn't matter. This boy is not your past, he is your son. And he needs his father. This rune opens the bridge to Helheim. When you are there, do not under any circumstances cross the Bridge of the Damned. There is no road back. Understand?
Boy.
Himalay. You must hurry. Through my garden, there's a path leading to my boat. Take it. Return home, dig up your past, do whatever you need to do. Just bring me back the Bridgekeeper's heart, and your son may survive. Now.
Freya. When last we spoke, I was...
No. You were right to distrust the word of a god. No need to explain. Not to me, not for that. I will keep him safe. That's a mother's promise.
Kratos has a past filled with death, pain, and vengeance. He's the god of war in Olympus, a son of Zeus, a man who challenged Ares himself, won, and went on to be betrayed by every ally he has ever had. He mercilessly killed nearly every single member of the Greek pantheon, but now he's a father in a faraway land, being tracked supposedly by Odin and the gods of Norse mythology. As thoughts of an old time fill his mind, his past demons begin to manifest themselves yet again.
Athena. Get out of my head.
The world around Kratos is turning to chaos yet again, and he knows that the only way he can stop the cycle of death is to become death itself once more. He can no longer outrun his past, and as he steadies himself to face it head on, the red sky foreshadowing the blood that has to be spilled to save its son, and the fires of rage that he once used to burn his enemies would be used, for the first time, for the love of family. The magical axe gifted to him by his late wife Faye was imbued with the powers of the most blistering cold imaginable. Even with this, the enemies that converged on his home were also impervious to this cold. The path is clear. Kratos must use a weapon he swore he would never use again. A weapon that is a symbol of the hate and bloodlust that filled his heart in a distant past. A weapon forged with the flames of Hades itself. Using these weapons again would force Kratos to acknowledge who he is, what he has done, but it would also be the key to what he is to become. Just as in life, growth requires understanding your past and using that knowledge to shape your future. Kratos has decided to don the weapons known to many God of War fans. Sharp edges, flames, the chains around his arms, almost as a bondage to the rage encased in his heart. As he pulls the weapons from underneath his home, he holds his forearms, understanding the gravity of the situation. It is time for him yet again to use the blades of chaos. As he understands the situation, almost as if his dark past and anxiety all become one manifested being as Athena rises.
There's nowhere you can hide, Spartan. Put as much distance between you and the truth as you want. It changes nothing. Pretend to be everything you are not. Teacher, husband, father. But there is one unavoidable truth you will never escape. You cannot change. You will always be a monster.
I know. But I am your monster no longer.
Kratos is empowered, determined, and fighting for someone other than himself. He's defiant against his own past now. He understands it. He understands what he must do.
All right, brother. Let's see where those
He also understands the enemies that he once had such trouble with are no longer any trouble to him at all. I think these blades will do just nicely in Helheim.
On your right.
God of War is a truly magnificent piece of just storytelling, action. It's just amazing in every way possible. And as a dad myself, it definitely resonated with me in ways that will, enrich me for the rest of my life. And I will freely admit, there are plenty of times in that game where I might have shed a tear or two or 10. Just a great game. And picking up the Blades of Chaos in that game meant a lot. Not only just because of the ramifications of what it meant, but also because it's a callback to a time where gaming was just kind of crazy and chaotic, and he went back old school on him. It's pretty cool. So, the next game, and the next moment, and the next weapon. We're going to take it back to the early 90s, 1991 to be exact. And we're going to talk about a little game called, it's a small game. Yeah, that's right. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. And the weapon in question, the one and only Master Sword. The Legend of Zelda has had many iterations, but all involve a single story beat. A boy named Link must save Hyrule from the clutches of the evil Ganon. The weapon needed to accomplish this is not so easily attained. In this Super Nintendo classic, Link finds himself in an adventure to acquire 3 pendants by conquering a series of dangerous dungeons. Upon collecting them, he'll have the ability to finally retrieve the most powerful weapon in Hylian legend, the Master Sword. The first dungeon, the Eastern Palace, is the location of the Pendant of Courage. A fitting name, as Link has to triumph over 6 demon-like statues at the same time to win the pendant. The bow and arrow is a godsend in this fight. 1 down, 2 to go. Our adventure takes us to the sand and heat of the desert palace. Being that this is the location of the Pendant of Power, we must show strength to pass this trial. Not only do we acquire the Power Glove, which gives Link the ability to lift objects no mortal could, but we also must battle the Lamamos, centipedes who are hell-bent on taking us down. Link, determined to save Hyrule, cannot show weakness here. Instead, with our strength to withstand their attacks, and the aid of the trusty Ice Rod, these worms are no match for us. And down goes another. The only pendant left is arguably the most difficult to acquire, the Pendant of Wisdom. After navigating the dizzying heights and complex puzzles of the third dungeon, the Tower of Hera, Link finds himself fighting the Moldworm at its peak. One wrong move during this fight could cause Link to plummet several floors below, effectively restarting the entire fight. Using your wits and predicting the movement patterns of the beast are key to this fight. A few well-timed sword strikes and some brain power lead the way in this tense battle. And now the moment we've been waiting for. With the Pendant of Wisdom in our possession, it's time to go to the Lost Woods to retrieve the Sword of Legend. The Master Sword, or the Sword of Evil's Bane, is the only weapon capable of defeating the evil plaguing Hyrule. The sword sleeps in a pedestal, not unlike Arthurian legend of the Sword in the Stone. With all 3 pendants in hand, Link follows the winding paths in the lost woods of Hyrule towards the blade. Ancient text is engraved on the pedestal. Although we can't read it, we have something we picked up on our adventure, the Book of Medora, to help translate. The 3 pendants respond to the call of the hero. The Master Sword is finally ours. After hours of puzzles and battles, we hoist the sword high above. The Legend of Zelda, a game series that truly formed my gaming lifestyle by, really pulling together the fact that I am a lone hero going against the darkness and going against evil. And what better way to exemplify that heroism is acquiring this weapon that only a legendary warrior can possess by passing through trials to get to it, hoisting it above your head, and being the one left over that can possibly save the world. It's an amazing moment. It's a moment that's also been replicated in Ocarina of Time, Skyward Sword, and many other Zelda games as well in future installments. So, to me, A Link to the Past version of getting the Master Sword, just because I'm an old guy, again, I know I say it a lot, but I remember playing that game and doing that for the first time and thinking, man, what an incredible experience this is. This is so cool. Like, I earned this sword. It's mine because I'm the one that got it by being courageous, being strong, and having powerful fighting technique, and having some wisdom to being able to find what I need to find to get this sword. You see what it did there, right? But without any further ado, we're going to move on to the final, we won't call it a weapon, but a power-up. And that game in question is Devil May Cry 5. An action-packed extravaganza of craziness. You got demons, you got guns, you got swords, you got demons with swords and guns. It's just crazy. It's insane. And if you've ever played a Devil May Cry game before, you kind of know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, let me put it to you this way. Think of the most ridiculous Michael Bay action movie you've ever seen. Sprinkle in a little bit of Japanese culture into it. Put in an airtight gameplay, an over-the-top story, and you're maybe 1% the way there. It's honestly insane. But in this game, in this particular power-up I'm going to talk to you about, because it's less of a weapon and more of a power-up or an awakening, if you were. One of your main characters, Nero, finds out that he is the son of one of the main demons, Virgil, from the previous games. The Sons of Sparta, as it were. Dante and Virgil have been at odds over the entirety of the Devil May Cry series. They're brothers. So Nero has a uncle named Dante, who's a crazy over-the-top, red leather coat clad, crazy guy. And then you have Virgil, a lot more serious and desperate for power so he can one-up his brother finally. Well, Nero doesn't want these two to fight and kill each other because they're destined to do that. So he decides to take matter in his own hands, or rather hand, as you'll see, and try to stop that. Well, if Nero is Virgil's son, he thinks he's been a human up to this point, but is that really the case? If Virgil is a demon, a son of a Sparta, who's a legendary demon himself, wouldn't that make him a demon too? Well, that reality comes out big time in the finale of Devil May Cry 5. Check it out.
Nero is my son.
Yeah, dumbass. You can't remember through that thick skull of yours?
Well, well. That was a long time ago.
I guess you were young once too. As much as I'd love to hear that story, I think it's about time we
ended this.
Dante and Virgil, destined to battle each other. Brothers, both sons of the legendary Sparta, a demon knight that saved humankind countless times, even falling in love with a human. These brothers have decided to fight once and for all, but an unknown demon arrives to halt their battle at the last second. Our protagonist Nero has just learned during the story that Dante is his uncle and Virgil his father. Having lost too many friends and family due to his indecisiveness, he has decided he must act now if he is to stop the cycle of bloodshed in his family.
Nero? Is that you, Nero? Did something happen?
Kyrie. When I was a kid, I was alone. You and Kratos were all I knew. And now all of a sudden I find out I have a family. What am I supposed to do with that?
You always know which path is right and which is wrong. There's no need to doubt yourself.
Thanks. I guess that's all I needed to hear. I have one last thing to take care of. And then I'm coming home. I couldn't protect Kratos. To this day, I hate myself for not having enough strength. But this time is different. I swear! I'm not letting you die!
Shedding his cybernetic arm, Nero has finally awoken the power of Sparta within him. Now he has the power to stop this once and for all.
this is curious.
Nero.
What form of power is this?
What the hell? This ends right here. Listen to me. I told you already. This is not your... You listen, deadweight. I won't let you kill each other. There are other ways of settling your differences. I'm putting a stop to this sibling rivalry.
You came all this way just for that. Virgil. V. Whatever you call yourself. Dante's not gonna die here. And neither are you. Do you have a problem with that?
Not gonna die my ass. Oh, that bitch slap nearly killed me.
If I beat Nero, then by default, I beat you. Agreed, Dante?
Whatever. I don't really care. I'm just gonna sit this one out.
When this is over, I'll make you submit. Father.
Faced with defeating his own flesh and demon blood, Nero lets his father know just how he feels about him in the current moment. Nero is understandably upset with his father for basically, one, stealing his arm so he can get his weapon back, but just their incredibly rash and terrible relationship they've had, not only as his son, but also Virgil and Dante as brothers. This fight right here is not so much for Nero to win, but to save Virgil's soul, I guess you could say. After a massive battle, Nero's triumphant. Poetic that his father's blood in his veins being the key to victory. So that wraps it up my first go at this series here. So wanted to keep things fairly short. These three specific situations came to mind first when I thought about this particular topic. Now, obviously, there are tons and tons of other scenarios, weapons, power-ups that can come to this list, but we got to keep things for a future installment. So if you have a particular moment that comes to your mind when you think of a weapon unlock, a power-up unlock, maybe just some type of pivotal moment in a story for the character or narrative, put them in the comments below. Let me know what you think is something that resonated with you when it came to your gaming life. These are just a few of the ones I can think of as well, but we ain't got time for thousands of them. But man, I gotta tell you, when it comes to video games, they aren't just about jumping over gaps and shooting bullets and winning battle royales. Those are fun, and don't get me wrong, I'm all about that as well. But sometimes unlocking something or earning something, good analogy for life. You know, you work hard and you get this moment that resonates a lot with you. So, if you got something that comes to mind, comment it below. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel. We got more in store coming up for you in the future. I'll see you next time.